curious if you would recommend anything differently, because we do have differences. Like, we're individuals, we have individual expressions. We're very, very close. We're mostly on the same page 99.9% of the time, but obviously there's always differences because neither one of us is like mechanical, by rote, just do what you were told sort of people. But I feel like where I start is umbilical until they don't need, like, until they're not like hitting the end of the line because they inappropriately ran zoomies and like, umbilical cord the dog until you don't feel like you need it. Then drag line, let the dog have a line so you can step on it, so you can grab it until you don't need that, and then transfer to taking that off. I think crate training the dog is wildly important, even if you have a single dog. And this is where people get on me. They're like, yeah, but I don't have multiple dogs. Like, I get it. If you have 5 dogs, you need crates. But even if you have an individual dog, to me, the worst day in a dog's life is going to involve a crate. No matter what, unless your dog gets away its entire life with having no accidents and no injuries and no illnesses and never being lost, your dog's worst day involves a crate. Your dog at its sickest, at its most injured, at its most scared, gets out of the house.
And it's going to be made so much worse by the fact that they're not accustomed to one.
That's the thing. If you crate train your dog minimally, just enough that they are comfortable in a crate, then should the world go sideways, when the world goes sideways, your dog will be fucking crated, whether it's animal control finds them.
Even if it's not sideways, like, you limit your options, even as far as, like, I mean, we don't board our dogs, but a lot of people do. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to travel and have nobody to watch your dog,
or you can't take your dog because it's too hot in the car, you can leave it in the hotel room if it's in a crate.
If it's in a crate. Or like Jazz just had this happen. She's got one board and train right now, and somebody else wanted her to do one over Christmas for like 4 days.
Yep.
But the dog pretty much is not crate trained, so she had to say no, because in the situation she's at with 2 dogs at home already, like, she had to have the ability to crate the dog, and she was like,
nope,
sorry.
Yeah.
So it's
it limits your options for management. In all scenarios, limits your options, which is bad. But some people would go, I'll make the sacrifice because I don't care and I'll manage my dog, whatever. You
also never know when you're going to end up with a second dog.
Fuck, man.
You know what I mean? And it's like, then you're looking at, life's so much easier if your current dog is already crate trained. It's just so many scenarios.
In addition to all that, the emergency. Like, if the world goes
theoretically,
fucked
if you
up,
got the dog from a puppy, like, you should have had one anyway for, potty training.
Yeah, potty training. I think if the world goes sideways, your dog will get put in a crate. Why not have at least one aspect of that be comforting? If they're like, I feel like shit, I'm in a weird place, weird smells, weird sounds, weird sights, I'm in pain, but at least them shutting that door, I know, you know what I mean? Like, I am accustomed to this part. It is at least one way to reduce stress rather than add to stress in an already fucking stressful situation. Not to mention non-emergency, it still limits a bunch of your options. So the umbilical drag, no line in the house to teach manners in the house. I think crate train dogs. I think putting windows of opportunity on drive expression, like before you play, are you ready, and then enough at the end of it.
Well, in your language.
Inside that play comes your yes and get it and and no and enough and all that. All your language gets taught during play to me.
I would put a place in there also. Like, to me, that's once just you start, like, pretty quickly, you know what I mean? Only because that is for one thing, it's a learning opportunity. For another thing, it is some place they can go to learn relaxation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So to me, I would include that as well.
I do. I teach get on that thing that I'm pointing at.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be a specific elevated bed or whatever.
But I usually do use elevated beds.
Yeah, they're the best.
Absolutely, because it's more clarity. But I usually will just use furniture and stuff in the house with people. I don't make them go by and look. Because if your dog's umbilical corded to you, they're actually going to get, to me, they're going to get on the couch. But I don't care. They're acquiescing to my rules. I don't give a shit. If they want to be on the floor and they're umbilical corded to me and I go sit on the couch, kids getting on the couch, that is still an arbitrary amount of control because they didn't need to get up, but they did because they're stuck to me. So it's like there's still an element of arbitrary control, but it lends itself later to more free feeling because At some point when I feel like the umbilical is not super necessary and they've already been taught the word stay at doorways and thresholds, I can take the clip off the dog because I'm going to go to the bathroom and not drag them and go stay. And then they stay and then they come back. Like, that's little points of learning how to hold a stay command. Cool. But it's like, teach them how to play properly, teach them how to crate train, umbilical cord them, which teaches them how to yield to spatial pressure, social pressure, and leash pressure. Teach them the place command and a release word.
I think that playing in the window of opportunity is so much bigger than people think, just because so many people have problems with stuff that would be solved by that. Like all the stuff, like they're nipping me, they're all the stuff that the dog is doing because they want some kind of interaction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
one, they're doing that because they want interaction because they're not getting it. Right. So they're unfulfilled and they're like leaking drive because they're unfulfilled. So if you give them places to put those things, they're less likely to leak them out. And then I think you're right. I think a lot of problems are caused on both ends of those. Most of the problems that people run into are window of opportunity problems. If they have a dog that is trying to open a window because they either don't believe it's going to happen or don't believe that they're ever closed, they're always open if you can find a way to fuck with them. So it's like the inappropriate trying to open of a drive window, or the other one is trying to get them, like the dog's walking around doing nothing and you're like, hey, I would like for you to be interested in me right now. Like, I need to get your attention. Like, you're out in the backyard, but I want you to come to me right now. The dog doesn't understand that you have a drive expression opportunity window for it. It thinks that it's responsible for going and opening all of its own windows. So it's out there sniffing a butterfly.
Right.
And you go, window open over here. And it's like, yeah, my window's open over here. I'm all set. And yours don't matter because in 5 minutes when I want to open your window, I'll just go fuck with you and nip your hands until I open your window.
Right.
Like, them not knowing that the opening of a window is a beautiful, rare occurrence that you better get on top of or you're going to miss it. And then when windows close, they're closed and you can't open them again. Just that idea alone fixes a huge percentage of people's shit. If people had a window of opportunity, they don't need a recall. Because if your dog's out on the end of the yard...
Well, I mean, that is your recall. Basically.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't need the word come or hear because you can go, hey, you ready? And the dog's like, Jesus Christ, and comes running back to you. You don't need a heel to get past the Shih Tzu. If when you get to the Shih Tzu, you go, you ready? And the dog goes, oh my God, are you going to pull out a tennis ball? And then does what looks like a heel past the Shih Tzu. You know what I mean? Like, an actual window of opportunity, a call to attention, and a shut of drive fixes... You don't have to teach dogs to do place command when somebody knocks on the door. If when they go to the door and they get excited, you go enough and they go, oh, I guess the window's closed. And then they don't get excited. Like, having an actual window of drive opportunity is the fix to so much of a percentage of it that makes the obedience part of it not even fucking that necessary.
Right. I mean, and you practice a lot of your no reward marker. You know what I mean? Especially in the beginning, which you then can use in many different circumstances, unrelated to whether you're playing or not, to communicate with the dog, like in the house. They're doing something they're not supposed to. If they understand what the no reward marker is, they're going to understand when you like,
oh, what I'm doing right now is not
something I'm not supposed to be doing.
Yeah, it's not going to pay. Yeah. I don't think people understand play as a valuable form of training. I think most people don't understand play as anything other than making them tired. I think the next level up of understanding is people going, it's a motivational engine that drives obedience. Like, if you do the thing, I will give you the thing. Like Premack principle, you do the shitty thing and I'll give you the Frisbee. But I don't think people understand how valuable it can be in that sense, like teaching that window of opportunity, bringing a call to attention and bringing a drop of drive and teaching all of your language and trust and communication and bonding and biological fulfillment. Like, I don't think people understand. I think they just kind of, it's like how to us jiu-jitsu is like fucking like martial arts taken the right way are super deep. But some people, like, if somebody looked at it and went, yeah, it's like jogging, it's exercise. And you go, no, dude, it's not. Running on a treadmill for an hour and doing martial arts for an hour are not equivalent. Just even if the calorie is equivalent, it's not equivalent. Right. You know, I think people just look at play. People spend more time doing obedience and less time doing play. And I get more life skill practice in play than I would in obedience, which is why obedience is last to me. You know what I mean? Which makes it look more like what that guy's saying, because I do a bunch of lifestyle structure. I think the lifestyle structure and productive play are the two main things to do first. then fuck with reactivity and outside and obedience and all the particular shit. Because I think 99.9% of shit is fixed with learning how to properly live with a dog and learning how to have productive play with a dog, which productive play to me is part of living effectively with a dog.
Right.